I'm so excited to see you tonight.
First date, baby. First date, I can't wait. First date.
Hello and welcome back. This is a really exciting episode. I cannot wait to introduce you to my guest. He's back for his second date. He hosts the show Ask Dr. Drew. He's also the chief patient officer at the wellness company. And yeah, give it up for Dr. Drew.
Hey, I'm so pleased to be back. I'm a little jealous that I'm the second date. Who was the first second date?
Mark Normand.
Well, I get that. He's so funny. He's so cute.
He is cute and he's weird.
He is weird. But he's actually, in reality, one of the nicest. He's so offensive on stage. In reality, he's one of the nicest person you ever meet.
Which is terrifying because you know that he's just like backlogging things that he's going to punch you with later.
Just on stage, in person.
He was one of my judges on my very first live show that I did. Yeah. And we had a malfunction and the TV didn't work. The sound didn't play. And I was like, oh no, the sound's not playing. And he goes, that's okay. This is the best way to watch the show on silent. And I was like, everyone, Mark Normand.
My good friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm glad to be here on a second date. And, you know, although you've changed somehow since I was last year, I've noticed something.
Glowing?
Something physically going on with you?
I didn't think that there would be three of us at this table today, but
Who's here? Zolo? By the way, I'm here because Zolo dragged my ass out here.
I know!
So thank him for getting me here.
I know. It was like a string of people that were all pushing to get you here.
But you were really pushing poor Zolo, and he was like begging, because there is a third person in this room.
I know, and I can't think of anyone else better to tell than you that I'm pregnant.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
Can we get an applause or something from the controller? Thank you.
No one's here at the studio
like,
today.
So here we are. We're going to talk all about it, right?
I can't wait.
All right, before we talk about your stuff, let me talk about my stuff before so I get that all out there. The Wellness Company is a group that I work for that really is getting medication and stuff to patients. I've given up on trying to protect the patient-doctor relationship. I want to get stuff to the patients directly. I mean, I cannot get over what happened during COVID. I cannot get over it.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine who's on the medical board with me at this company said, you know, if we were doing this like 5 years ago, I would have thought, no, it might be a little crazy. Now you're crazy not to do this kind of thing because look at what they could do to us. And then again, check us out. It's Ask Dr. Drew, Tuesday, Wednesday at 3 o'clock, Thursday at noon or 3 o'clock, and we're just interviewing very interesting people, often canceled people.
Yeah.
And I learned something from every one of them. And so I may not agree with them.
Shows.
Live streaming, Rumbles. Subscribe on Rumble. That's the best place to get it.
Man, that is so cool that you're
fun.
doing like live streaming
Susan
shows.
produces it. She produces the whole thing. It was all her brainchild.
Wow.
Yeah.
You guys are such a power couple. I love that.
How about that?
That's so cool.
So speaking of power... There's nothing more powerful than a pregnant woman, I would say. Even though you guys, but you guys feel so vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
Are you having that experience yet?
Yeah.
And I think it organically creates something in men where they if they're not feeling it, there's like something wrong. Where they want to protect, they want to help, it just happens automatically. And even though it's organic in us, we still fuck up. We still miss it. We miss. You're experiencing that.
No, well,
we want to talk. Want to tell me a story? We miss. We don't think about it all the time the way you do. That you're in this state. You know, and you're in it.
Well, he's done a really good job at constantly asking me how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And he always tells me that I'm beautiful. He tells me that like probably 5 times a day. And he's like, I love your belly.
Well, he probably means it because there's sort of two groups. No, there's like 2 groups of men that are into it and men that are not into it.
Yeah.
And thankfully he's into it. So
he's very into it.
So that's good. And as it pertains to my screwing up when my wife was pregnant with triplets.
That's wild.
It's wild. We'll talk about body changes and stuff because poor Susan had to go through it like, you know, big time.
3 times as much.
Ridiculous. And where I really learned my lesson on put the toilet seat down was when she was about as far along as you, but it was with 3, and she fell into the toilet because I didn't put the seat down, and she could not get out.
Oh my gosh.
So when you're like 9 months pregnant, think about falling in
Is
the toilet.
that how big she was?
About then, yeah.
So I'm 4 months pregnant, which is crazy to think about. It's so nuts for me to even think about that.
Him or her, we don't know.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out.
I find that out in like 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Are you going to tell the world or?
Yeah, I'll do a reveal.
Okay.
I don't think I'm going to do anything fancy. I'm not going to have like the popper go off that's like
Blue or
pink or anything like that, or have like 2 midgets fight, you know? Like I'm not going to.
That sounds very YMA.
Well, I've seen like some crazy pregnancy, like gender reveals.
Don't give these guys any idea. You'll end up in a ring with a midget.
No,
So-
I think I just give my blood and then they tell me if it's a boy or a girl. I've just been saying, instead of it, I'm just like him, because I'm like, it's not they.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
One,
not
definitely
them.
one.
Yeah, it's
well,
one.
You said you were having headaches more than usual.
Crazy headaches.
Yeah, and you don't have migraines historically.
No.
And progesterone, your placenta produces shit tons of progesterone, and that probably is what's causing the headache. It's also what causes the fatigue.
Man, I'm so tired.
It's pregnant women don't realize what fatigue is until they get pregnant.
Nobody understands what fatigue is.
Yeah, this is real fatigue.
It's almost like someone, if you're out in the sun all day long,
Yeah.
and like the water, you know that tired that you get after swimming in the sun all day? I feel like that every day at 2
It's like
o'clock.
heat stroke, everybody. Just think of heat stroke.
I'm just like, oh, I can't do it anymore, and I just fall asleep wherever I am.
That's progesterone.
So
God's being good to you with that.
2 o'clock have been my nap times.
Nice. Are you able to function again after that, or is that it for the day?
I wake up
Okay.
and I'm like, I spring right back like someone stepped on a daisy.
And how about nausea and
None.
all that? Nothing.
Nope, I haven't had any morning sickness.
Which is lucky. It doesn't mean you're not going to get it next time. If there's a next time, just remember you get lucky
really?
sometimes with stuff.
I just got lucky.
Are you one of these good pregnant people? You know, I mean, some people really dig being pregnant. Some people really hate it.
I'm fine so far, but I'm not huge.
You're just in the.
I just look like I gave up. You know, like I look like I stopped doing crunches. It kind of looks
just
like
started eating.
Right? Yeah, I went to Chipotle, and I.
It's a little more
Look
than that.
at this. It actually is a little
gotta
bit more.
say,
Like I just look like I gave up.
I hear people were kind of speculating. They kind of noticed a little something.
I
Like at the
know.
live shows and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Well, it's good you got on it. Here we are. We're talking about it. And there's sort of and for people to know, there's kind of a, I don't want to say rule of thumb, a wives' tale, that you don't talk about it till the end of your first trimester.
Right.
Because shit can happen during the first trimester.
Correct. Which I definitely didn't want to say.
And Zola couldn't get me out here until now, so don't blame her. The reveal took an extra week or a couple weeks.
Yeah, but what else? I haven't had any nausea. Food has been very different.
Mm-hmm.
So I love protein. I can eat steak all day, every day. I mean, I met my boyfriend at a barbecue restaurant
That he owns.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm very into the meat. And it's been so hard to eat meat. It's steak. It has to be with rice or in a tortilla or with a
because you get
chip.
full very easily?
I
or-
can't stand the texture of meat.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. It's so crazy that we're talking about all this stuff. I've been waiting so long to talk about this with you.
And here we are.
I know. It's so cool.
You got lots of questions. How
It's
is
just
it?
wild.
How is it affecting your relationship with the daddy?
It hasn't changed at all. I think I've been a happier person, which sounds insane in itself.
No. I mean, look, women do not appreciate how much the hormonal environment affects everything, especially their mood.
Yeah. But I haven't had like
And by the way, if you're super happy, like late in pregnancy or immediately after, you got to watch for the crash
dip.
after that.
Well,
Yeah.
I've been finding that so far I haven't had the hormone imbalance that makes me like a bitch.
Not that one.
Yeah. So I haven't been like
Which one is
mean
that?
or
So you
rude.
can tell your
I don't
boyfriend
know.
what to watch out for.
But you know, like there's a thing that people say when you get pregnant. They're like guys are like, oh my god, everything's like she's gonna change. So these hormones are gonna be going through her, and she's gonna be this and that.
It's usually early on in the pregnancy. The crazy thing is that in the third trimester, that's when things settle down, and that's when you're horny.
Oh.
This is one of God's great tricks on men and women.
Okay.
And if your boyfriend is not into it, one of those guys, some men find pregnant women like, it scares them or it's offensive. Something freaks them out. I don't trust those guys. Because it's like, what do you think a woman is? It's like, what exactly did you imagine you were
This
up
was
to?
gonna happen.
Yeah, what were you thinking? And guys are into it, so it's good news for them, except many times you can get preterm labor and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they'll ask you to not do anything.
If you have sex?
Not even, you can't have an orgasm even.
Really?
I know it's Susan who's in the control. You want to ring in here what that was like with
Oh
three
my God,
on
that's
resting on
crazy.
your pelvis?
So that's another thing is I have had to pee like
that's gonna
every 30 minutes.
That's going to get way worse.
Every night, I probably I'm not kidding, I wake up 8 to 10 times.
To pee?
To pee.
Do you drink a lot of water also?
So much water, it's
that's
insane.
really important to check your blood sugar now. Because
Okay.
that's also a sign of
Pre-diabetes.
Just diabetes, yeah.
God, that sucks.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you're not going to, I feel pretty confident it's not going to be a big issue for you. Even if it starts to happen, I'm sure you will handle it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
That's good to hear. You know when you discover a new binge-worthy show or a song that you bump on repeat and you just have to share it with your friends so they can experience just how awesome it is? That's kind of what it feels like when you discover that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan. It's such an awesome deal. There's no way that you can keep it to yourself. In fact, we use it here at YMH on our business lines, and it has saved us so much money. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. To get this new customer offer and your 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/date. That's mintmobile.com/date. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/date. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speeds slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
So what kind of mom are you going to be? Does that freak you out?
What do you mean?
Are you nervous about being a mother?
No, because my mom is moving here.
You're just going to hand off. Maintain that comedy career,
Yeah.
stay on the road and hand off. We have a friend,
do a
I think
great
she's
little
been with
handoff.
you guys, Zhao Ying Summers.
I love Zhao Ying.
She's a very good friend of ours, and she just hands her kids to her mom.
Yeah.
Teach them Chinese.
Yeah, so I had my mom is in town this week, and we told her that I was pregnant.
I met your mom.
Yeah,
She's
she's
lovely.
here.
She's lovely.
And thank you. And so then I asked her if she would move here, and she
Oh,
said
this
that
is
she would.
your idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
But Mark's too. We both really wanted her to move here and be grandma.
Oh my God,
'cause
what
she
a
lives
nice, that's an incredible luxury.
Yeah.
In the sense that, like I said, we had triplets. And so we were, you're going to have me sitting here for baby advice too.
I know.
Or put Susan in the seat, not me.
I feel like it's
'Cause,
going to be a lot.
It's a lot. But
There's-
but the one thing I tell everybody is manpower. Manpower.
Yeah,
And if you
help
have
around
manpower
the-
from the same gene pool, that is a luxury.
Yeah.
Take advantage of it.
I am. That's why I asked her if she'd move
Yeah.
down here. So I'm excited about that. She's going to be so helpful. And then Mark is such a family guy. Like we just went to Japan and his mom and dad came. We've been on 2 beach trips this year. We go on 2 beach trips every year with his whole family. And then finding out that I was pregnant was fun. So we found when we were in Morocco, and he kept telling me, he's like, I think you're pregnant.
What the hell?
I don't know. And I was like a little tiny bit late on my period, like a couple days. And he's like, I think you're pregnant. And I was like, I don't think I'm pregnant because I was so convinced that I couldn't get pregnant
Right.
with the PCOS.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm definitely not pregnant. And he's like, I'm pretty sure you are. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So anyway,
What was he talking about?
I don't know. He just assumed that I was. We practice hard.
Good,
And so
good.
and so whenever we got home, the day that we flew back into the United States, we went to our apartment. I had 1 pregnancy test I think from like 2014 that I just never ever used. And I had it in my underneath my sink. And I was like, should I pee on this? And like, should we find out? And he's like, go for it. So I peed on the stick and I left it up on the counter, and he was in the bathroom, and I went in the kitchen to clean dishes.
Just forget about it?
Yeah, I was like, whatever. Because it's always been negative. And so he goes, hey, yo, you're pregnant. And I was like, and I just remember cleaning a dish, and I was like, and I just stopped and I put everything down, and I was like silent, and I was so quiet. And he's like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm good. And then he comes out and he was just jumping for joy. He was like, oh my God, I'm going to be a dad. And I was just sitting there just like silent. And he goes, why aren't you saying anything? And I'm like, I just have to process this. This is a lot. We're both just finding out for the first time that I'm going to be fat. And he was like, that's what you're thinking about? And I was like, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Like, I just finally got down to a 24.
How is it affecting you now? Is your body dysmorphia now?
Well, I still fit in my dresses. My boobs are a whole cup size bigger, which I didn't think could happen.
Are you freaking out about it?
No.
Okay, good.
I'm slowly growing. I went through a growth spurt this week, which is why I'm really glad that you're here. But like, my stomach went from like kind of looking like I was bloated to looking like I ate a whole burrito at Chipotle. So
and didn't shit for a month.
Yeah.
You got any
and
style.
I can't suck it in. And my waistline is like kind of fading away.
And you sort of have to capitulate to it, right?
I'm just kind of like, well.
Good. Okay, good.
I guess it is. At least all my dresses are really stretchy.
Yeah.
So I'll fit in them throughout it.
Well, it's interesting. So when we got pregnant, we reversed the roles where I was one that said something stupid.
What'd you say?
I said we were looking at the ultrasounds, like it was a fertility campaign. They very quickly ultrasound you. And I could tell there was it looked like more than 2 to me. And I was
really?
like,
How could you tell?
You could see the sacs.
So there was
they were
3 sacs?
There were 4 to begin with. And one just dropped out spontaneously, thank God. But I could see 3 big ones for sure. And I could see 2 really. And I was like, oh my God. And he's like, no, I think there's 3 here. And I'd just been sitting in the waiting room reading projections of college costs 20 years hence.
Yeah.
And I just went, how am I going to pay for college? 3 kids all at once. How am I going to do this? And the projections were exactly correct. That's what college expense was.
Really?
My 3 kids was $300,000 a year, a course, that's what it was to send a kid to school. Yes. Get ready for
Oh.
Tell Mark about that. Maybe he'll lighten his enthusiasm a little bit.
Yeah, right?
But back to babies. I've noticed we jumped off that topic pretty quickly. Does that give you any anxiety or
having a baby?
The having of the baby and the rearing of the baby. Having a baby in your house. Being the mom to a baby.
Well, I mean, obviously, I think when you're new to something, like I've never been a mom. I've never had a kid.
Do you have confidence that your instincts will be good, that you'll sort of
I
kick
do.
in? You feel
I
like
think,
it? Okay.
Yeah, I think I'll be a great mom.
Are you going to make every effort to breastfeed? You're going to go down
Yes. I definitely want to breastfeed.
And that's not as easy as you imagine. You have to have coaching and stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
I think there's classes.
You do all that. And then delivery, what are we going to do here?
I'm not sure yet. I've watched a documentary called The Business of Being Born.
I think, yes. I think I talked to somebody involved with that once.
Which was really interesting.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how like hospitals try to induce labor and then how the contractions can be really intense. And like that's kind of what drops a baby's heart rate. Something.
Yeah. But to me, most of the criticisms are sort of kind of concocted. I mean, because many people try home delivery and vaginal delivery and end up with an emergency, and they are very glad that they had the resources to save the baby's life.
Yeah.
No problem. However, I do believe that every effort, there is a lot that goes on through vaginal delivery that I think I'm convinced we kind of miss out on if we don't really go through that.
I would like to do it.
Yeah.
Vaginally.
Now, but then there's the other question of anesthesia? Do you take a spinal? Do you take medication?
I would rather not have the medication if I can.
Okay. And did that movie just convince you of that?
No, but I don't really. I would just rather try to do it as naturally as possible.
Okay. And do you want to do that at the hospital or you do it at home?
Probably at a birthing center.
Birthing center. Near a hospital.
Yes.
Good.
The birthing center that I'm looking at is fully equipped.
For trouble.
Yes.
Yeah.
As if it was a
Yeah,
hospital.
people,
It's just not so intense.
Yeah, although we overdo it, for sure. We overdo our interventions on obstetrics. People have delivered throughout human history. But somewhere around 20 to 50% of women historically eventually died in childbirth.
Yeah.
People forget about that number. Even if you say it's 20%, let's say it's 10%. 10% in childbirth is a big number. You want to be just prepared. That's all.
I think my biggest deterrent is C-sections. I really don't want to have a C-section. So unless I was having twins or something.
It starts to get important as you have multiple,
right.
Especially super multiples. But there's another piece. We sat down with our obstetrician. The first thing he said, he goes, I'm the chairman of the Vaginal Preservation Society.
Okay.
And then we're like, really? Tell us more. And I started thinking, he is right. So much of the stuff that I see, like I take care of people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, are still injuries or distortions of the anatomy left over from vaginal deliveries 50 years before.
Yeah.
Stuff happens.
I'm sure.
Not what you think, not what you know. Like you don't know about these things probably. Do you want to hear about them?
I mean, I guess.
Like what have you heard about?
Well, I don't think I know what you're going to tell me.
Probably not. But you might.
All I know is that I don't want the excess drugs.
Right.
And I'd like to try to do it naturally as possible.
I hope I don't sound like I'm not being supportive. I want to be supportive of that.
I'm just trying to.
So let me just talk about the vaginal floor.
Okay.
So and by the way, this is not to discourage you. This is just sort of food for thought.
Yeah.
Sort of the vagina goes from essentially this to kind of this after deliveries.
Okay.
Just kind of the bottom part kind of stretch, which does not, I've never met a dude that is bothered by that.
Right.
Women get bothered by that.
Because it's a physical appearance
Because it's
thing?
not like in a magazine or something. I don't know. I've heard that kind of bullshit come out.
Because physically it looks different.
Yeah, I've heard that come out of people's mouths. I've never heard a man complain about it.
Yeah.
So don't worry about that. But down the road, you can get what are called rectoceles, which is essentially a stretching of the rectum, and it drops into the almost out of your asshole.
Yeah.
And your bladder can drop into the vagina and really actually fall through your vagina. And your uterus can drop and
Fun.
you can get a uterine prolapse, which are rather common.
Sounds cool.
And it's good times.
Yeah.
So
really entertaining stuff.
So that's for your dating future and you're working hard at pregnancy.
I got to make sure that he really likes me.
So really, really likes you. And
I'll be a little nicer.
Those bitch hormones, watch out for
those.
But the point being that when somebody brings up preserving the pelvic architecture, you go, oh, yeah, okay, there is something to that. Just going with your eyes open, that's all. It's not, and by the way, I mean, all manageable stuff, and there actually are operations for it and things, and if it really becomes a problem, which they don't really have to even do that anymore. It's just people just kind of deal with it. And there's a whole world of physical therapy for the pelvic floor now that we never used to have.
Well, how do you feel about like midwives and stuff?
I'm in. I'm in with all that as long as it's safely situated, which is what you're talking about.
They also have
I don't like the denial of like it's just natural and safe and that's that.
No.
I don't like that.
No, I know that there could be like a million complications.
There can be, and you just don't want that to happen.
Totally.
And we can deal with all that. So
that'd be horrible.
Horrible.
That would be really scary. And I don't want it to be scary. Like, I don't want any of that. I want to try to do it. Like, there's also like these hypnobirthing classes that I've heard of. I haven't taken any of this stuff, like these courses yet. I'm still pretty new into this journey.
Get in, do what you're doing, which is educate yourself.
Yeah.
But I'm going to also suggest you get educated about babiness too.
Like having a baby.
Dealing with the baby. So now
The
we're
physical
talking,
form.
Yeah, the thing you're just pointing out in front of you there.
I think I've thought less about that and more about delivery.
I see that, and I want you to start include. I'm not.
Where should I look at? Where should I?
We got a ton of info because we had to extrapolate up from 1 to 3. You know, we had to become experts at 1, so we could deal with 3, and we were in survival mode. My hair was like Zolo's colored, and then a year later, no fooling.
Yeah,
very stressful. And Brazelton. We swore by that guy. He's an old-time pediatrician. T. Barry Brazelton wrote a whole bunch of books. I'm sure it's all outdated. It was godsend for us.
Really?
So even though he may not be the baby whisperer du jour, I would hang my hat on his stuff.
Yeah.
He has one called Thresholds or something. I forget what it's called.
I wonder how many people actually think about that stage.
Well, you're going too fast because you're going to be thinking about feeding schedules and sleeping schedules and structure to the day and, you know, what is normal and what's abnormal and when do we get worried and when not to get worried. You need to be armed with all that. You got to get ready.
Do you think that routine, like how do you formulate a routine and a schedule and all of that?
This is depends on the baby somewhat. What if they have colic and what do you do then? And what do you feed and how do you feed?
And what is colic?
We don't really know. It sort of goes down as abdominal cramps. It makes the baby very crabby,
Cranky,
crying all the time.
Yeah.
But some people theorize it's a sort of an underdeveloped central nervous system that kind of is overstimulated all the time. There's different theories, and we had one with colic.
Do they grow out of that?
Yes.
Does it last for very long?
No, it can, but usually not. And it can come on, you know, like 3 to 6 months in all of a sudden.
Yeah. That's wild. So yeah, I think I've thought less about
I see you. I know.
The
it's
actual
all right,
baby.
But I think when you get to the 3rd trimester, then you're gonna be like, oh shit, this is real.
Yeah, I'm kind of like a fly by my seat kind of person. Like how when I found out I was pregnant and I was like quiet for a minute and I took a beat and then probably I think it was like 3 days later, I had like so much of my brain had changed in the way that I was thinking about life in general. Cause I'm like, I've got 9 months, or I guess at that point it was like 8 months to figure out what I'm going to do about.
Did it change your whole outlook on life and who you are and what you're doing and your relationship?
Definitely. Yeah. I think, man, I think that the first thing is like taking better care of myself. Like not that this isn't taking care of yourself, but like from going from like fasting and not really eating, I was drinking an energy drink in the morning so that I could kill it in the gym. I was drinking like 3 cups of coffee. I really wasn't eating
You're doing intermittent
very
fasting,
nutritional food.
Even when you would eat,
when I would eat, I would have steak and vegetables, but
okay.
But I'm just saying I wasn't like, I don't think that was even
balanced. You were not balanced.
It wasn't like a super healthy lifestyle. Yep. And now I care less about the thinness of my body at this point. And I'm like, I need to eat eggs.
You have no choice on that one.
Yeah. Like I need to eat in the morning.
Yeah.
And I need to eat nutritional things.
Yeah.
And I need to eat these certain amounts of things.
And don't stress yourself at the gym.
Yeah. I haven't been.
That's an enemy right now.
I've like lowered.
And I would say always. There's better ways to work out than excessive cardio and all that stuff.
I do like walking uphill at like a very slow speed,
fine,
and
but
just
not for
like
long. Anything that raises your cortisol, decreases your muscle mass. That's your enemy right now. From now on.
Well, I do strength training, a
Good.
lot of strength training.
Good.
I have a personal trainer.
Good.
So I don't know. I think that stuff like that, and then like I'm gonna get a bigger car, and
you're gonna get equipment.
Yeah. So they're thinking about just stuff that you kind of need. Is kind of crazy.
Does it make your life more meaningful in a certain way?
For sure.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. And I find myself like I'll lay down on my couch and I just like stare at my stomach and I'm just like, how do I make the best life available for this human that's going to come in?
That's very different, right?
That's been like
that's
really,
profound.
Yeah. So that I would say is like really meaningful too. When I find that like I'm not really all that hungry, like I don't want to eat dinner, I'm like, but that's not up to me.
Are you going to do things differently than your family of origin? Do you mind me asking?
Like once I have the baby?
Yeah.
Well, I was homeschooled.
I did not know that.
I was homeschooled.
How did you end up as a high school student in Pirates of the Caribbean with your boyfriend? Was that not a high school boyfriend?
It was a high school boyfriend. So I was homeschooled from when I was little all the way until my sophomore year.
I like the way that story now is just so routine that you're like,
that's it.
You can move right past that.
Yeah. I've talked about it so much ever since I was on your podcast. But yeah, I was homeschooled until I was a sophomore. And then I went to a private school for a year and a public school for a year.
Okay, got it.
And so...
Would you homeschool now?
I don't think we're going to homeschool.
You're going to be in Texas, so it's pretty good here,
yeah,
right?
They'll probably go to like a really
some
nice
people would
school.
argue that there's never been a more important time to homeschool.
True.
Some people.
Is there anything else that you want to ask me before we... Or advice that you want to tell me?
Manpower. That's my advice. Manpower. And don't try to be perfect as a mom.
I never do. Thank God.
You don't try to be perfect.
No, I know I'm not.
Okay, because you seem like you were kind of going that
like
direction.
Like a perfectionist.
Yeah. Just be careful with that, and then be really cognizant of mood disturbance in that first year, because a lot of people miss the symptoms of postpartum depression.
What are the symptoms?
They can be. It can be obviously sadness and crying, but sleep disturbances, random thoughts of aggression and violence, even towards the child.
Yeah.
Can be a sign of postpartum. It's not abnormal.
Yeah.
It happens. Obviously, there could be postpartum psychosis is obvious when that happens. Postpartum depression, trying to distinguish between baby blues, which is pretty common, and actual postpartum depression. I'm pretty liberal with that threshold because it's so disabling and it's so subtle. It comes on perniciously and it just captures you, and you don't really realize what's happening. It just feels like the stress of having a baby is what you're dealing with, which is what you're dealing with.
Yeah,
which is more than you imagine. Because here's the other thing. This is the thing two things. One is your husband's best move is just to listen to and follow your instincts. Whatever you say instinctively, he needs to go, I don't know how you know that, but okay.
Yeah.
Because that happened to me a lot. That was like mystical to me.
Your intuition.
Your mom's intuition. Because
Oh.
we don't get it. We're like, when you go, the child's hungry, we're like, how do you know that? Why? It's the way he cried, whatever. I just know he's hungry.
Yeah.
It's like, I needs a diaper change. Needs a diaper change. Okay.
Yeah.
The answer is okay. On it. So follow behind and go ahead with it. And what was the other thing? I was going to say along those same lines about the rigors of raising a baby.
The intuition. There's postpartum.
It'll come back to me. The aging brain now. Things come back to me after 3 minutes. Watch. And then do pay attention to your relationship.
Yeah.
You kind of go in survival mode for about a year, and everything is about the baby. And if it, needs to be all about the baby, the guys will be okay. You know what I'm saying? We'll be fine. But just remind him if he gets whiny about what the priority is right now. We're getting the baby.
That's so true, though. I think it's still very important to...
Because you go through some immense hormonal shifts after pregnancy, and you might be just shut down for a while. And that is God's way of, especially when you're breastfeeding, of making sure you don't have one baby on top of the other.
Yeah.
Right? And so and he's got to just go, okay, I got it. I'm supportive.
Right.
And if he's that family oriented, he'll get that.
Yeah. He's very understanding. I couldn't be in a better relationship to have a kid. I was married for a long, long time.
Long time?
I mean, I was with him for 7 years. To me, that's a really long time.
Yeah.
And there was never even one day that I considered having a kid with him.
Interesting.
And I've been with other guys, and I never considered having a child with them. But this one,
It's what you call a tell.
Yeah, I was like, man, you are daddy vibes. And so he's the only person that I've ever considered having a child with. And look where we are.
Yeah, here we are. Done and done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was gonna mention something about not being perfectionistic, that you'll make mistakes, you'll fumble along, you'll get through things. Don't be hard on yourself, and take breaks and get support. Get
manpower. I do need to start doing my research though on that for like even things just to feed the baby, like the best ways to go about food.
How do you choose a formula? Do you choose a formula when when is breastfeeding not enough, or is it always it's very confusing. And have you picked a pediatrician yet? Have you thought about that?
No.
What are you going to do with vaccines? So you thought about that yet?
Yeah,
and,
there's a lot.
Think that all through. People have strong feelings about that stuff these days. And the one thing I will tell you is make sure it's a pediatrician you can talk to. I know Christina probably knows somebody good, because she had somebody great out in LA. It was actually a friend of mine who she leaned on hard early on.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to do some research. I don't love the people in Austin. They're not my favorite. When it just comes to I think doctors and stuff,
doctors and stuff. Here's what's happening to medicine more than ever. You're not even going to see a doctor. You're going to see a nurse practitioner. The practice of medicine is getting more and more and more sort of assembly aligned.
Yeah.
And spending time talking to a patient, having a physician talk to you for a while is going to be uncommon.
Yeah.
Nurse practitioner may be fine, and adequate nurses are really great at educating and giving information.
Yeah.
So that might be perfect, but you got to find somebody you can really trust and who has backup, proper physician backup.
I'll probably be leaning on people that have experience, like you said, Christina or someone that has someone here that they trust. I'll be going to people that refer me probably, because other than that, it's just kind of hard to find someone you really like. But I can't wait to have you back again and talk about actual baby stuff.
I will be the first third date.
I know you will.
That will be good.
Yeah.
As your life evolves, it's so
crazy.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't want anything to stop. I don't want the podcast to stop. I don't want my live shows to stop. I want life to continue moving forward.
Does Christina stop doing it?
No.
Oh, yeah, right? I mean, this is your job. You can...
And I love it, and I have fun doing stuff like this. So I think it's really important for me to continue.
You can get lost in the mothering. If you're not careful.
And I want to make sure that my relationship is safe. I want to make sure I'm safe and I'm still doing me, and then the baby is good. So
Grandma's going to be a big piece
She's
of
going to
this.
be so helpful, and I keep telling her that.
Does she know there are 2 coming, maybe?
2,
you said,
total?
Yeah, you said in a year or 2 you want to have another.
Yeah.
Is she prepared for that?
Yeah, I told her that there was going to be a second one too. And then I was like, Mark wants a third one, but I don't think.
Does Mark and your mom get along?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mark gets along with everybody. If Mark doesn't like you, it's probably
you.
Yeah, then you're untrustworthy. But he's a jolly guy, you see him.
I got it. I could hang with him.
He's just jolly.
Yeah.
He's a happy person. And so, yeah, if you don't get along with a genuinely happy person, there is something.
I'm so many things just fly into my head too that you got to think about. You've got to educate your little self a bit about attachment. The attachment styles and attachment disorders, and
I think we've talked about that a lot.
I think you and I have, and to get how to get a secure attachment going with a baby. It's not easy, yet people have done it forever.
I don't want to be a helicopter mom. I don't want to monitor everything.
That comes. You watch yourself when the child starts moving into the world.
Yeah.
Because initially it's just about you and the child.
Yeah.
And then once they're mobile and moving around, it's called rapprochement. They go out, but they need to come back for refueling.
Yeah.
Support.
Yeah.
The more you make that attachment, that not idealizing the child, making them perfect in the world, which some moms do. That's not a good thing either.
No.
But enough to refuel and make them feel like they've got a base to return to. That's what you're looking for.
Yeah. We will come back for a 4th and a 5th and a 6th.
All right. Come back for many dates. That'd be good.
Well, thank you for coming on. Is there anything that you would like to plug or where people can find you?
Find me again, Dr.com, Dr.tv, subscribe on Rumble. The nicotinamide riboside for if you're trying to get pregnant, or I take it every day for anti-aging effects, which is I'm very sold on. And I also have something called Fatty 15, which you might look into even during pregnancy.
Really?
It's they've found a new deficiency in the American diet. It's pentadecanoic acid, and it really helps with cell stability. So
wow.
it might be another pill for you to take.
Yeah. Great. We'll just add it to the handful.
In the morning.
I know. I should probably break them up, to be honest, because taking all the stuff that I'm taking It's probably a lot.
Good. Well, congratulations.
Thank
it's a big
you.
deal. You're going to love it.
I can't.
You're going to be a great mom.
So far, I'm having a great time.
And enjoy that third trimester when you're horny all the time.
Yeah. Man, I'm looking forward to that one.
Mark hopefully is too.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this super exciting episode. I can't believe I've had this news to share. I've waited my whole life, and I never really knew if that would happen to me. So here we are. Stay tuned and follow along all my social media now that I can share my pregnancy with you guys. I've got a lot.
You're going to start... You're going to be... become aware of the guys that are into pregnant women. They're going to make themselves known to you.
So you can subscribe to my Patreon.
So they will come around. So.
But no, you guys are great. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.
First date, baby.
Are you really drinking a glass of milk with dinner?
First